Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share a what we had for dinner video. I love watching videos like this, and so I was really excited to film one. I will be sharing 4 recipes with you that I have made multiple times that I love making. They are, for the most part, pretty easy and minimal prep work. So if you have small children like me, these recipes are really good. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite go-to dinner recipe is. I love getting new ideas for dinner recipes because I just get so bored of cooking the same things. But I think now I have a good rotation of like 10 or so recipes that I love and that are like solid recipes that are not hard for me to make because I've made them multiple times. But I hope today's video gives you guys some diversity, helps you get some new ideas on what to make for dinner. For the most part, these recipes are gluten and dairy free. The burger recipe that I will share, we did use sprouted sourdough bread. So you could easily just change that out for a gluten-free hamburger bun or something like that. Also, a few times I believe I used grass-fed butter, and that always can just be switched out for coconut oil. I sometimes will just use coconut oil anyways. So thank you guys for being here. I hope you like this video. If you do like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's jump right in. So our first recipe is grass-fed burgers and sweet potato oven fries. I'm going to just start by peeling my sweet potatoes. This is definitely a step that you don't have to do, but my kids are just not a fan of having the skin on there. Otherwise, I would honestly just leave it. Okay, next I'm going to just chop the awkward ends off of the potatoes. Then I'm going to cut them long ways, and I am going to slice them into fry shapes. They definitely don't have to be the same size. I actually like that they get different textures from not all being perfectly the same size. Once all the sweet potato fries are cut, I'm going to transfer them to a pan, and now I'm going to add seasonings. So I'm going to drizzle avocado oil. I'm adding some umami seasoning from Trader Joe's, some pink sea salt, and some garlic powder. You can really use any kind of seasoning that you want on your sweet potato fries. I just usually use what I have on hand. They are now going into the oven for 20 minutes at 400 degrees. I am now going to just cut up the toppings for the burgers. So we have some red onion. I'm also going to cut up an avocado and some tomato, and then I just like to add arugula to the bottom. So I just stick that in a little bowl so that everything is ready to go. Like I said before, we are using sprouted sourdough bread. I like to cut it into circles because it feels more like a bun, but feel free to use whatever kind of bread you want. So now I'm just gonna add some avocado oil to a pan, and I'm gonna throw my burgers in. We just get the grass-fed burgers from Costco that are frozen, and they're really good, and it comes in a big package, so they last forever. So the seasoning that I'm adding to the burgers is actually the same seasonings that I added to the fries. And again, just feel free to kind of customize this to whatever you like. Now I am just getting the bread ready because I like to just put the burger on top when it's done. I have cashew cream cheese, arugula, avocado. Then I'm adding some salt, and at the top I'm putting some ketchup. And then I will also put the tomatoes and the onions once I have the burger. So now after I flip the burgers, I'm going to take this dairy-free cheese and put it on top. Then I cover it with the lid, and I usually, once the cheese has melted, I know the burgers are ready to go. So then I'm going to take them and put them on the bread that I have prepared, and I'm just going to add the rest of the toppings. Once I do that, I'm going to close the sandwich, and I'm going to grill the bread on each side for about 3 minutes per side. So right after I filmed this, I actually got a cast iron skillet that I had ordered from Amazon, and I just so prefer cooking these burgers on the cast iron skillet. I no longer use the lid when I'm grilling the bread because the cast iron just gives it a natural char. But I love this cast iron skillet, and I'm gonna link it in the description. If you don't have cast iron, it is a bit of a learning curve, but it's definitely worth it. So now that the burgers are done, I paired it with the sweet potato fries and some ketchup, and here is our final product. Our next recipe is chicken sausage, veggie, and brown rice bowls. I like this recipe because whatever veggies you have sitting in the fridge, even if they're from the previous week, this is a great recipe to use them. So I am just chopping up some zucchini, some broccoli, and some mushrooms. Next, I'm going to slice the chicken sausage, but I am going to use meat scissors. If you have never used meat scissors to cut things, I'm telling you, your life will change. This is the easiest thing, and my husband always makes fun of me for doing this. So for my rice, I have this frozen brown rice from Trader Joe's, and normally you can just pop this in the microwave, but I do try to avoid the microwave as much as possible. So I am just putting this on the stove. I used 2 packages, and I am putting some salt, and I'm going to add a little bit of water and then start cooking it at about medium-high heat. Next, I am going to add avocado oil to my cast iron skillet. Here it is. And I'm going to start cooking my chicken sausage. I was honestly a little bit nervous because this was one of my first times using the cast iron skillet, and I was stirring the chicken sausage a lot because I didn't want it to stick. But once it was done, I'm going to go ahead and just pull it out and put it into this bowl, and then from here I'm just going to add the veggies in and get those cooked up. So if you're wondering what I'm cooking on the front burner, yes, I am making some pasta for my kids. The chicken sausage is actually a little spicy, and if I remember correctly, the last time they didn't like it, so I just wanted to make sure we were going to have something that they would eat. So real quick, as far as the veggies go, I just seasoned them with some salt and some garlic powder, and then I added the chicken sausage back in, and I unfortunately did not get a picture of this at the end. But just imagine the chicken sausage and veggie mixture next to some brown rice, and I usually top it with a little bit of sriracha and some feta cheese. So you can obviously top it with whatever you want, but this is definitely one of our favorite go-to meals. So our next recipe is a paleo quiche. I'm going to start by preheating my oven to 350. Then I'm going to again just chop up any vegetables that I have that need to be used in my fridge. So I have a red onion. This is about half of a smaller red onion. Then I am dicing an entire package of mushrooms, and I am going to saute up that spinach that you guys see, and that is all going to go into my quiche. To heat up my skillet, I am going to turn the burner to medium-low heat. Now I am going to make the paleo pie crust. I am going to start with 2.5 cups of almond flour. I am going to add some pink salt and a little bit, probably about half a teaspoon of garlic powder, some butter, an egg, and I'm just gonna mix this all up and it's gonna form a dough. Like I said, I'll have the more specific measurements in the description because I will link the recipe. This so far has been my favorite paleo quiche recipe. Once I get the dough evenly pressed into the pie dish, I am going to stick this in the oven at our 350 degrees for 10 minutes. While my pie crust is cooking in the oven, I am going to saute my veggies for about 5 to 6 minutes until they look like they're ready to go into the quiche. While the veggies are sauteing, I went ahead and I added 8 large eggs to this bowl and I just whisked them up. And I did add a little bit of almond milk to kind of thin it out. And then to season the eggs, I just used some salt and some garlic powder. The final step to sauteing my veggies, I'm just gonna add in the spinach. And I did add in some salt and some garlic powder and the Trader Joe's umami seasoning. Those have just been my go-to right now. But once again, you can always add whatever you feel like sounds good. So now that my pie crust has been cooking in the oven for about 10 minutes, I'm going to pull it out. Then I am going to go ahead and add my egg mixture and my veggies in. So after I add my veggies in, I am going to give one last pinch of salt and some garlic powder, and I am going to stick this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 to 30 minutes. This particular case, I needed 30 minutes to cook this quiche through. So check it out about 20 minutes. If the center is still jiggly, then you want to cook it a little bit longer. If the center is solid, then you are good to go. At the very end, I added some dairy-free cheese and I stuck it back in the oven to finish cooking for about 5 to 10 minutes. And here is our final product. This has definitely been one of my favorite go-to recipes. So the last recipe that I want to share with you guys is this grilled chicken and dairy-free Caesar salad. I'm starting by making some homemade croutons, which sounds daunting, but I promise it's the easiest thing. So I'm going to cube up these 4 pieces of bread with, again, my meat scissors. And I am going to add some avocado oil, some salt, and some garlic powder. And I'm going to cook this in the oven at 375 for 10 minutes. Next, I have these 2 chicken breasts that I am going to slice in half. I just find that I like it to be thinner, especially when I'm using the grill pan. So I'm going to kind of make a rub for these. I'm going to start with putting some avocado oil, again, the umami seasoning, garlic powder, and salt. That's obviously my favorite combination right now. I'm just going to kind of rub it on, and then I'm going to move it over to the grill pan. So I'm going to stick these on the grill pan. I am going to cook them until they get a nice char on both sides, and then I will slice them up so that we can put them on top of our Caesar salad. So now I'm going to make the dairy-free Caesar dressing. I just used some cashew cream, I think about 3 garlic cloves, and then I added in some salt, some lemon juice, some black pepper, and some wild-caught anchovy paste. This is a recipe that I tweaked to make my own, so I will put the recipe and the directions for this down in the description for you guys. Next, I'm just going to use this bag of romaine salad, and I like to just go through and cut it to smaller pieces because sometimes when you buy these bags of salad, there's just huge pieces of lettuce in there, and I don't find that very enjoyable to eat. So now my croutons are done and they have cooled for a minute, so I'm just gonna toss those in while I start to get the chicken prepared. So now I'm gonna kind of just get our bowls ready. I am going to add the dressing in and I'm gonna give it a good toss and then just add any extra seasonings and just kind of make sure everything tastes good. So once this is done, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this salad into the bowls and I am going to put the chicken on top. I am also gonna end up adding some feta cheese at the very end. We do have feta cheese because it is sheep's milk. We try to avoid conventional dairy as much as possible, so this is a great recipe and this is definitely one of my newer favorite recipes, and it's great for still having hot weather and just wanting a nice refreshing meal. This is going to lead us to our final product, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.